The date is 4/15/2022. Hello, my name is Vigil, and this is my video journal known as the Stream Journal, which I refer to as Vigil's Mirror. It will be a rough and low quality production that is designed mostly for recording, keeping, and for idea creation. I'll be going through the various training programs that I've been working on developing over the past several months in my videos. I will be mixing and changing the content development methods over time as I try to develop a streamlined template for the creation of these videos, while slowly over time improving the quality of the video's content. I will be recording my thoughts at least once a week and compiling videos with very low amounts of editing or none at all. This is not a vanity project, but instead a long-term documentation of my life and the training programs that I've been working on developing the past several months. It is my hope that after 20 years, if both me and humanity is still alive, I will have tens of thousands of these videos created with a long-term evaluation of my life possible because of this documentation program. I hope that over the next 20 years, while I record and document my life, that I will be able to develop as a person and show that development through this video stream journal. It is my hope that I survive the next 20 years, but the reality is that I could die at any moment of any day in between here and there, so I'm grateful for anything that I am able to experience and create. Who am I? For now, I am just Vigil. I hope that this stream journal allows both self-exploration to the society at large and allows me to really learn more about myself as well. It will be a journey of self-exploration and idea creation over the next 20 years of this journal, with things about myself being revealed to me as well as you. I hope that I grow as a person and as time progresses, and that this growth is evident in this video journal. Things will change and things will circle back around. I will at times be boring and unpleasant to watch, and at times I hope you find my experiences in journal to be interesting and enjoyable to watch. I'm making this for more than just myself, but the focus of this documentary will partly be on just myself. I will talk about my various belief systems as they develop, and I will talk about my various ideas and concepts that I work on in physics, logic, psychology, and other STEM fields, as well as philosophy and religion. You will see me at my hardest moments and my moments of elation and glory, which I hope will allow me to develop both in reality as well as in the mind of you, the viewer, into a being that has depth and more than a single dimension. It is my hope that I, with the aid of social engagement and the social panopticon, feel more of a pressure to not conform to society, but to engage with it on a level that I historically have always tried to avoid and dodge, hoping that I could just be another nameless face in the crowd. It is my hope that I don't coerce society into obedience, nor have an asocial or antisocial character that tries to flaunt this society, but I also don't, nor will, conform to the mob's belief systems and modern-day trends that, like a lot of fashions, will eventually go out of vogue. It is my desire that a dialectic begins between me and humanity, which will allow both sides to state their multifaceted viewpoints and contest against one another with a level of respect and humility that I think is probably neither of our natural states of being. I desire to discuss and communicate my life and ideas without a sense of fear or shame, while any community that I interact with do the same as well. I'm a melloristic person at times, and at other times a hardened cynic. I have tasted nihilism and insanity at times, and I have been heard with clarity of voice of reason. I have been heard with a clarity of voice of reason, both from the mouths of others and to my own pride myself at times. I am not a duality or even a contradiction, but instead the average human, which is a paradox of conflicting beliefs and desires that lead to honest liars and evil saints, both of which I believe have ideas that stem from logic and their own anecdotal experiences, which are just as valid as my own. I will likely lose a lot of my dignity with this level of documentation and exposure to the general public, and I will tell you now that there are topics I don't want to address and will avoid because of the shame and trauma that I'd rather not include. I hope, though, that I maintain a sense of integrity with this journal by never allowing myself to become blind to reality nor lose myself to the mob pressures of conformity. This journal is made for me as well as anyone who is interested in seeing, from my perspective, the best that a monologue or conversation can create, the reality that I believe to be more than just a subjective solipsism, and it is my hope that my stream journal allows the growth of the intersubjective narratives that we all believe to be an objective reality that is immutable, but is not. It is absolutely guaranteed that I will appear ugly at times, beyond simple physical looks and my bad eye. I am an imperfect being that has a tendency towards vanity, wrath, sloth, and every other lower and base component that makes up the psychological foundation of the human psyche. But it is my hope that this ugly reality that I will sometimes not simply show and express, but beyond the deepest levels of my being, act as the counterbalance in a society that has developed the Instagram angles and self-censorship of thoughts and ideas that are deemed cancelable. able to be canceled. I'm a strong believer in ethics, and I think morality has a place in aspects of our society, but I also believe that ethics are on a spectrum between black and white, with black being evil, or things that should never be done, and white being God's area that no man can reach without any sort of success, with an in-between that accompanies or accommodates most everything that exists in levels and shades of gray. I think that people are neither good nor evil, but instead simply information systems that are self-aware with free will, with their thoughts corresponding to their neuronal pathways that are information architecture that is represented in spatial patterns and chemical combinations. I think that for the most part I am a libertarian who believes in certain things being restricted based on the sliding scale of ethics and morality that is highly dependent upon cultural relativism, with only a small amount of actions that are done by humans as being evil, though the person who does evil isn't evil themselves, but is instead simply lacking spatial patterns in their neuronal networks from lack of experience and education, or damage that has been done through organic brain disease that was naturally occurring, or events that traumatize and damage their mind. I think that this journal will be discussing a lot of things with this ethical belief system and perspective on evil and how it relates to humanity, so I felt it was necessary to explain the small component of a deep iceberg of my beliefs and thoughts. I think that the mob as a whole has always leaned towards the reign of terror when it is given free will to target and eliminate the outliers and minorities of society. I believe that some of my thoughts and words will be triggers for a community that has, in my recent memory, been quick to condemn those who challenge the narrative of reality or who go against the grain of the current story plots that have come to be accepted as conservative values that our society never really had, or progressive values that are degrading as they start to age. Some of what I say I will later contest and disagree with. I will likely go back and forth between beliefs as I write, and age with no real stance being held firm. I'm not infallible, and I will grow in understanding as time progresses, which will cause the oscillation in my belief systems. Today, I threw out 4 years' worth of writings, which amounted to thousands of pages of text stream journals, several completed manuscripts, and a dozen finished halfway, and hundreds of articles and essays. I deleted them with everything must go attitude, and I am now starting again so that I can create with the past no longer able to contaminate these writings with the once held beliefs and falsehoods that were something so dear to me, which I have been purged of with the loss of thousands of hours that it took to write them. I will begin again now with a fresh look upon life, the skill sets that were developed writing those thousands of pages, and a neophyte eye with a beginner's mind that will be quick to innovate instead of looking into older files to simply replicate. Today is the first day of this new era for myself that comes only from destruction and loss of the writings that I worked tirelessly over hundreds of thousands of hours to create, which took literally a few seconds to destroy. One day I may destroy everything I've created again. Impermanence and loss created by the will to begin again, and self-destruction as the means to liberate myself from the cage that is holding on to the past and former beliefs or creations creates it, is how I finished my day, and I sat awake writing this, now recording this as I see a new day that is without form yet begin leaving untold horror and joy available to occur and develop in a new plot of beliefs and narrations of reality. Again I begin. If only for ephemeral glory that will be lost to the sands of time through obscurity, decay, and self-destruction, through the loss of memory of me, the destruction of civilization, and my own tendency to destroy the things that I've created in written prose, if only to liberate myself. Welcome to my stream journal.